Good morning. This is Norma Cowie here once more with Norma Talks. It's been an interesting morning because I've already recorded this once and then discovered that the readings for the cards that show the month of November, which we're looking at today, didn't come up in my share screen at all. So it was just me talking about cards, pointing things out that were not there. So we're doing it all again. Nothing like repeating, right? So here we go. Actually, I just want to say that when I first put this reading down, I was really happy to see it because the last little while it has been, what's the word I'm looking at? Hang on a minute. What's happening here? I don't know if that's coming through or not, but there's something going on here. I just wanted to share screen. There we go. Okay, this should be still recording. So if all goes well. Oh my goodness, it's one of those days today. It's only number two. Number two is often about balancing. So here we go. So the reality here, if these beautiful symbology here, I was just so thrilled when I saw it. So let's take a look at this. The way this morning is gone, who knows where we're going to go with it. It starts off with the Queen of Pentacles, which is basically when I first saw this and noticed a couple of other pentacle symbols, and I went, oh, this is all about money. But it turned out not exactly like that. In the beginning, it's like, yes, we're all thinking about money, noticing the limitations, which most of us are probably noticing. Food and other goods prices are way up. Although I noticed that my gas prices were down a little bit more, which was kind of nice. And so we're looking as we're coming into the month with us all looking at this extra money, not having maybe as much money as we'd like, not all those things. And yet it shows very quickly that, like, we're already at the second, so third, fourth, and even the fifth, everything is possible. Everything begins to change and work. And it's like, oh, maybe this is all going to shift and change. But then, we raise our expectations up and then bang, we go down. And this is where the stretch comes of really not being so happy with what's going on. We begin to get defensive and uncertain about certain ideas of what's happening. So we begin to sort of come into a sense of arguing and discussion, like just not feeling good. And that ties us up. And this is the one I'm worried about the most, to be honest, because when we get really sad and depressed and feel there is no hope, we begin to do anything that will make it workable. And that, to me, is really as we're heading into around the 10th even through to the 14th. I think by the time we get to the 15th and 17th in particular, this Six of Swords is beginning to take place. And then we're beginning to realize, oh, things are changing, but they're moving in a direction where we're feeling much better. So by the time we get to around the 20s, it's like things have reconsolidated. And when they've really reconsolidated here, there's a lot more feeling of security and a lot more feeling of the direction of where we're going. And also then, as we move into the mid-20s, is that we begin to realize we have more command, more strength, more awareness of where we are and who we are. And so we just keep going and we keep building. And so as we come towards the end of the month, is that we really recognize that, hey, things aren't maybe not as bad as we thought. Maybe things are changing around. Things are moving. There's a lot more sense of coming into our inner strength and our inner awareness than there were before. Now, there's a couple of things I want to draw your attention to. One is these castles that are in a couple of the symbols. 3 of them, actually. Castles represent goals. They represent, the castle of dreams. That's our goal. That's what we've been wanting. That's what we're wanting to achieve. In the 8 of Swords here, very depressed, sadness, circumstances, everything is just, life has become a few muddy puddles. But behind you is the castle of dreams. And what's important here is to make the movements to get your blindfolds off, so that you can turn around and look in a direction and see something different. And so there is this sense of feeling sad and nothing working. But if we come on down further, where we move out of that, we begin to feel more consolidated and realize we have strength, then we come to this Eight of Pentacles that also has a small castle. It's more of a house, but it's kind of like the goal where he's working his time. He's achieved something. And then at the bottom, we're at the castle, the goal, celebrating. So the shift that is happening through this month is really big. It's really big because there's a whole shift of letting go of feeling nothing's right, nothing's working. Poor me, how am I supposed to cope? I don't know what I'm doing. I have no power, I have no control, to coming through and working in the direction of where we're heading. So that was the reading that I got for that. And I'm just going to stop that share and move back here. Now, one of the elements that I find, and not only in my clients, whether I'm reading and or doing especially the transformations, is the lack of faith. What is faith anyway? One of the symbols that we have in the middle here, right in the middle, I didn't spend a lot of time going through different aspects here, but is the strength card. So you can handle the things in life based on this infinity sign above, which is talking about the higher power. Now, I find that faith and trust comes a lot by experience. When you're young, people tell you to go do things and you don't think too much about it. And you may be getting some insight or learning about how to have faith, but most of us don't necessarily get or achieve that in an effective way when we're young. But when we move out into life and begin to experience life, and life doesn't always go the way you want, then this way of having faith and trust becomes important. Number one, faith and trust in yourself. You need to have faith and trust in who you are so that you can handle and deal with the differences and the changes that are there. Because if you do not, every time something happens, you end up feeling like this. Poor me, nothing's working. But when we have a little bit of faith, we'll often do something and start moving in a different direction. It's all here in the reading today. It's all about moving in the direction. The wonderful thing I see here, like, because I'm really big on the spiritual pattern that's in the higher arcana, and we have the magician and the strength card. Both of them have the infinity sign above, and both of them apply what they have to their lives, and especially the strength, very involved, taking what they know and applying it to their lives. The journey through the higher arcana is an incredible story. And I wrote a little story about that, actually, about going on the initiation journey that the tarot talks about in the higher arcana. Faith and trust in all that you do really makes a big difference. The knowingness, the lovingness of life, the awareness that there is a force that helps you. Now, there's often a conflict about this because people think if you ask for something, then it should come the way you think that it should show up. But if you're asking and desiring and moving into gratitude already for receiving what the final element is, not so much the step towards that, is that you begin to realize that it's always better. Sometimes there were situations where I was hoping for one thing, something else came. And then but I knew from experience to accept and go with it, and found out in the long run it was much better. It was much better for me. It was much better for family. It was much better for everybody. And so I learned to have trust and faith in that higher power. I learned also how to ask for things in a way that wasn't pleading and do this or that, but to be more aware of for your highest and best. What is your highest and best in your life? We do not know always what is the best for ourselves, what is the best for our family. So it's a beginning to build up that faith and trust of realizing that we as a humanity, as a human being, fully working with our emotions and our mind and our gratitude and our knowingness and having our faith and trust in the higher power, that many, many things can change easily, actually, when we all join together with a common goal. Very often, people are splintered up by many things. Our world has been splintered in the last 2 years. And sometimes with families not talking to each other, some families very, very splintered. That brings a sadness to me because my family's somewhere else. Now, when we have that splintering, things are not whole. We're not whole. But when we begin to have faith and trust and believe and know and accept and love one another and give thanks with gratitude for our relationships of how they work, that spills out into the larger consciousness. You may think you are alone in the world with all the things that are not right for you, but you're not. There is a collective consciousness. And in that collective consciousness, all the thoughts and all the feelings go in. And that kind of has a mainstream about it. And very often people pick up thoughts and patterns from that and react and respond, sometimes without thinking, by using their, I was going to say God-given intellect, by looking at their intellect. Now, if you could just recognize that your thoughts are important because they're going out into the collective consciousness, that you, yes, may be picking up the collective consciousness and feeling sad and upset and unsure because you're bombarded with it a lot by, the media that goes on and the TV shows we watch and all that kind of thing. But the reality is you are a creative being. You have an inside and an aspect, and you have connection to that higher power that you can allow in through the feeling of love. And that helps the collective consciousness. And the way I have seen in some things lately, many, many people are collecting together with an idea and a concept of change and not wanting to accept all that's going on or being told this is how you're supposed to accept it. So it's the belief of knowing how we think, feel, and respond is so important, but also to have that faith, to know that faith will help you. And what do we have faith in? We have faith in ourselves, and we have faith in the higher power that is there always to support you. Now, one thing to remember, the higher power, although it loves you 100%, doesn't have judgment of your actions. Many people have been taught that their actions, etc., then they're judged by them. It is not my understanding of that. My understanding is just that you are loved. You are loved for you. And whatever you choose to do, yes, you have consequences. You don't have, and our actions always have consequences, but you're loved. And so if you can forgive yourself totally and 100% and begin to allow that love into you, knowing you deserve it and it is worthy of it, then everything begins to move out. I am so thrilled with this reading for this month because we've had some pretty tight months that are showing. And I was expecting the same, and it's not here. Instead, we end up on success, happy, achievement. There is change coming, people. There is change coming this month. Some of it you may not like, but it doesn't last. It does not last. I need you to know that. I need you to have faith in that. I need you to know that the higher power is there to work with you if you would allow it. Allow yourself to be inspired. Allow yourself to listen to what else is happening and going on and do the work that needs to get done and to be. So after a very unusual start on this day, you won't believe what I've gone through this morning to get this show up. No, it's not up yet, but to get this recorded in an effective way. I was all blurry in the beginning and then realized that for some reason my camera had gotten, it probably still isn't as clear as I would like it. I'll work on it a little bit more. Then I couldn't get my share screen to work. And then I did a whole recording where the share screen didn't come up at all. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful day. It's in light with the reading because the reading says, just persevere because it's getting better. Wish you well. Thank you very much for that. Oh, I have a new subscriber. Thank you. Also, thank you for your shares, for your comments, for your everything. I appreciate it. I'll see you again on, where are we? Wednesday, Sunday, and then Monday night for mental mind treatments. Bye now.